I'm going to do, Chim? I'm going to Photoshop out Waldo and then put the books back on bookshelves. Oh, hi.
Hi.
Welcome to another episode of a Starter and a Chaser podcast. I am Jon Passow.
And I'm Eric Chmielewski. You can call me Chem. And filling in for Joe Clarke tonight.
Chem, I am super excited for the beer that we're going to be reviewing today, which was donated by Cleveland Bourbon Co-op member and one of our loyal followers, Jared Locktish. Thank you very much, Jared. We have what has been called the best beer in the world, Westvleteren 12. Hallelujah. I am super excited about this. I have had it before, but Chem has not had the experience.
I've had many beers. I don't think I've had the pleasure of enjoying this one yet. So thank you.
You're welcome.
For inviting me on for this. Yeah.
Thank you, Jared. Now, Westvleteren 12 is brewed by St. Sixtus Abbey of Westvleteren. It's a centuries-old monastery abbey that started their own brewery
in Belgium.
1838 in Belgium, yes. It is a Belgian quadruple. Now, there's different levels of types of Belgian beers, Belgian single, Belgian abbey, or a double.
Single pale, dark.
Triple, Belgian double, special dark ale.
So what makes a quadruple a quad?
Alcohol percentage and malt profile.
Okay.
Basically. Quads tend to be a little bit higher. And single, double, triple, quad doesn't actually relate to double the ingredients or double the alcohol
or quadruple the ingredients
or like kind of a logical progression. It just seems to be kind of randomly applied because like you go from a light to a darker beer for the double, back to a light for the triple. The quad is dark, so it's like it's all over the board.
I never realized that about those before. That's really interesting.
All right, let's crack this one open. By the way, on the top of their beer bottles, they have a date, and that is not a born on date. That is a best buy date, and this has a best buy for the end of 2020. So this has actually been aged, and of course the Belgian beers can stand up to aging.
Oh yes, as I well know, and so do you.
And I would say the 2020 date on this, you can well exceed that. Now, in order to get this beer, you actually have to travel to the Abbey. But first, you have to register on their website, and it is a couple month wait before they schedule a time for you to actually show up, and you can purchase at that point only 3 cases of this. So this is kind of an unobtainium beer. That's why you don't find it on shelves very often.
Very exclusive, yeah.
There's a lot of yeast on the bottom of this, so I didn't pour that out.
Not at all uncommon for the style.
Correct. Now this is actually 10.2% ABV. And like I was saying at the beginning of this time and time again by so many outlets and so many professionals have stated that this is the best beer in the world. Do you think that's going to be the case, Chem?
We're going to find out very soon.
All right. Let's take a look at it.
All right. Yeah.
Slightly off tan. It's kind of a cream head or bone white head on there.
Slight tan, slight off white head, I would say.
So what about the color?
Dark ruby, I would say, with some kind of amber highlights.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Brighter ruby highlights when the light hits it. Yeah.
Good carbonation I'm seeing come up from the bottom of the glass. Nice part about these the Belgian goblets is there's micro etching on the bottom so that the subnucleation can happen and or not subnucleation. It creates nucleation points where CO2 can come out of suspension. So more CO2 is coming out of suspension, gives you more aromatics, more flavors. So nice little bonus about these glasses. Right. Speaking of aromatics, get your nose in there. I'm curious what he picks up on this one.
Bready malts, caramel right away, and then definitely some dark fruit notes, plum, fig. Yeah, kind of right off the bat. That's what I get.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Prost.
Prost. Ooh.
Oh my God. Wow. This is the third time or fourth time I've had this beer, and it still just impresses the hell out of me. I do get a little aged quality out of this. It definitely feels like it's been cellared. And that's not a bad thing. A lot of times cellar aging can really enhance a beer, especially when it's on the yeast like this. It continues to ferment just a little bit, microoxidation occurs, flavors change.
Yeah.
And I get that out of this one. What are you picking up from the
bready
first
malt
time?
and caramel right away, toasted, yeah. Toasted malts.
Toasted
caramel.
malts, not toasted toast?
Nope, toasted malts, yeah. And then, the dark fruit, plum,
So it sounds,
fig, Belgian candy sugar a little bit, just a hint.
So it sounds like this really, from the nose to the palate, is pretty spot on. Same thing.
For my palate.
Okay.
Yeah. And what are you getting on the flavors of this?
Dark. I shouldn't say dark. I should say you have some deeper caramel malts than what is typical. A lot of times when we refer to caramel malts, people think caramel, like caramel popcorn. Well, it's like that, but it's this not so sugary caramel. It's this deep, rich,
that's
elegant caramel, and dark fruits right off the bat as well. Tons of fig, plum, like you were saying.
Maybe even a little bit of apple. A hint of I
don't quite get apple on this. Do you get apple?
Hint.
Okay.
Or sweet, Red Delicious apple, not the more
not
or
green
sour
apple.
one.
Okay.
No,
okay.
Yeah, red, dark red apple.
I don't quite get that, but that's everybody's palate is different. Chem's got a really great palate. I respect his palate. I don't pick that up, but Chem does. If you pick up Red Delicious apples, put a comment below. And by the way, hit subscribe while you're down there. Belgian candy sugar. There is a little hot bitterness to balance this, but it's like 15 IBUs, 20 IBUs. It's not
I pick it up on the back end
all.
just a hair.
Absolutely, yeah. It just kind of lingers,
earthy, herbal quality to the hop.
Yeah, absolutely. This is rich, it is heavy, it's effervescent at the same time. It's extremely drinkable but at the same time balanced with some weight to it. This is incredible. But Chem, final thoughts. Final thoughts on Westvleteren 12, graciously donated by Jared Locktish.
Westvleteren 12. Let's see.
Supposedly the best beer in Savannah.
I've had a lot of Belgian beers, especially when I first got into craft beers. Probably the ones I went for most were IPAs and the Belgians. Kind of in my formative years, really getting the craft beer. So I've always had a soft spot for the Belgians. Corsendank was one of the first Belgians I really enjoyed. That I still do.
Love that one.
Wow. Yeah, just for this beer. Wow, fantastic.
Best beer in the world, though, do you think?
Best quad I've ever had. I'll say that for sure.
So
no doubt.
Best for the style. Yeah. Best Belgian quad. All right. Me, well, this is interesting for me. This is not my favorite beer in the world, but I think it is the best beer in the world.
Okay.
The quality,
in terms of just how it's crafted,
the craftsmanship behind it. The monks, they really know what they're doing. The Germans know what they're doing. The monks know what they're doing. Not to say other people don't, but they have this process dialed in, especially for these styles. And for the quality of craftsmanship, quality of ingredients, ageability, you do got to factor in some of that uber rare unobtainiumness as well, I feel.
Adds to the
fact
mystique and just the quality.
Mystery is there, and it's just this experience when you crack it open, and the fact that when this is warm, it is completely a different beer. I mean, cold to warm, I've never had a beer changed so drastically that it's unrecognizable to what it was cold. And now, this beer does that.
I want to throw in another note. Now that I'm kind of holding the glass down here, it's so aromatic. I can smell it. I can still smell it even with the beer being down here. And that not too many beers that you have that with.
So I've known Chem for a long time, and I've drunk a lot of beers with this guy. I've never heard him say that. You always like hold it up here. You have never commented on the beer's aromatics when it's that far away from you.
And I can smell it.
That's a first for me, for seeing you do that. That's got to mean something there.
I think so, yeah.
So for me, best beer in the world. Not my number one beer, but I recognize that this is.
I can see why you would say that, though.
Yeah, this is the top. So, Chem, thank you so much for filling in for Joe.
Thank you so much for having me on this episode, and I guess in particular, me finally.
You're welcome.
This is a beer milestone for me. It's a white whale of beer.
I'm glad we were able to slay that. You played Ahab today and got your white whale. Yeah. So, if you've ever had this beer, leave a comment down below. We'd like to know what you think of it. Is it the best beer you've ever had, or is it the best beer in the world? Comment, and we will be back next time with another episode of a Starter and a Chaser podcast.
And no one will ever be able to find Waldo. Ever.